One of my other favorite guys was this guy right here, Eddie Van Halen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you look at me like me. I didn't.
You
No,
pointed
I mean
at me. I
we're right here.
Oh, I
Wait,
forgot I was
you got
wearing
EV,
that.
you got
Yeah,
EVH
okay,
right here.
sorry.
Eddie Van Halen was
You know,
amazing, right?
I've got an absolutely bizarre story
Lay it
that
on.
you're never going to believe, but it's totally true.
All right.
I was what was I? 15 years old, right at 16 years old. Okay, when the Van Halen album showed up, late January of '78, whenever it was.
Yeah.
And I went out to the local music store, which was called the Soundpost at the time.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just hanging out
I think we had Peaches,
with my
Peaches
friends.
records and tapes or something.
Oh yeah. Okay.
The Peach Crates, remember the Peach Crates?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we were just hanging out, and this fella comes blasting through the door. He's a well-known teacher, and he happens to be, African American. Good guy, great guitar player, phenomenal. He comes blasted through the door, says he's waving his album. He's going, "You got to hear this. You got to hear this."
No kidding.
Yeah.
And
And this is 1978. It's probably around March.
it's ABBA. No.
Yeah, no. What he put on
Dancing.
was "Running with the Devil," which by my standards at that time period, from a highly religious home, remember, was a no-no.
So you didn't have Back in Black or any of that kind of stuff?
No.
Right?
Are you kidding?
Hell's
Not
Bells
until,
was
not
not
until I was 30.
Gotcha.
Anyway, he puts this on, and we're listening to it. He says, "No, don't just. You got to listen to this track. And the second track, that's the one you got to hear." And we're sitting around, and then this second track comes on, Eruption, and
Eruption.
Out comes this incredible guitar solo, and we're going like, "Wow, this guy can play his butt off." He's
Yeah,
unreal.
he can.
Then it comes to the two-handed tapping part, and we're going, "That's got to be a keyboard.
Yeah, no.
That can't be a guitar. There's no way." And the guy's like, John, Ellis was the fella's name. He said, "No, that's one guy with a guitar."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no freaking way. There's got to be at least two. He's got to double track that overdub. Can't be,
Such a soft touch too, right?
Yeah.
Just fluid and effortless. It looked like.
Well, the story gets weirder.
Okay.
Okay. Most people don't know this. Grover Jackson, who is the guy who runs Jackson Guitars and designed them.
The Grover Jackson.
He's from Chattanooga.
Oh, no kidding. I had no idea.
Born and raised in Chattanooga.
All right, cool.
And as luck would have it, good friends with John Ellis,
Okay.
the guy who's waving this album around.
What about
when you
Samuel
gotta hear
L.
this.
Jackson, who's also from Chattanooga? Is
Yeah,
that,
well,
is
that's a
that
whole
that
other
relation?
story. No,
Okay,
no relation.
No relation. All right.
Okay.
Very cool.
So here's the thing. On the back of the album, John's reading it, and at the very last tagline, you almost have to turn the album on its edge to even see it.
Yeah.
There's a little blurb at the very end that says, "Special thanks to Charvel Manufacturing." Well, John goes, "Oh, that's my friend Grover," because he knew that Grover already owned Charvel Manufacturing at that time.
All right.
He says, "Let's call him."
No, come on, man.
Not kidding.
Come on, man.
Not kidding. And the Soundpost at the time had one of those, they were Radio Shack speaker things, but it looked like the thing that's on Charlie's Angels, that Charlie always
Oh, yeah,
has,
yeah.
The funny box on
Hello,
the,
Angels. Yeah.
So he calls him, says, "Put him on speakerphone." So they stuck the little thing to the phone and had Grover on speakerphone. So like 15, 20 of us are sitting there listening to Grover. He says, "Hey, Grover, it's John." And John's like, Grover says, "How the hell are you? I haven't heard of you, and I haven't seen you in a coon's age," right? He's laughing, and they're both laughing because they're obviously good buddies, right?
Right.
And he says, "Man, you got to tell me about this kid Van Halen." Pin drop silence. "How the heck do you know who Van Halen is?" He says, "Man, I'm holding his album. It's the most incredible thing I've ever heard."
Yeah.
"You're freaking kidding me."
He didn't even know it.
No, he had no idea. Grover had no idea this album was even out. He says, "Van Halen's some kid that, in a local band around here, comes around driving an old station wagon, has to wire the doors shut with guitar strings. Been pestering me about building him a guitar now for a couple of years. I finally threw a bunch of stuff in a box, said, 'Here, go home and build this yourself. I don't have time. I got guitars to build and make money.'"
You gotta be kidding me, man.
That's what he said.
No kidding.
I'm not kidding. There's 15 witnesses that'll back me up on this.
Wow. That's
And,
crazy.
He said, and that apparently is the white guitar that with the electrical tape on it on the front of the album.
Oh, no
Yeah.
Would you disagree with the statement that Eddie Van Halen he was a chemist with that guitar?
Oh, without a doubt.
He put the
He was
different
a total-
pieces together.
yeah, he was a
you
total alchemist.
You could sit, yeah, an alchemist, but you could sit here all day long and try and build this Frankencaster. And you would not be able to mimic exactly what he did. It would be very hard to get it exactly.
I would have agreed with you 6 years ago.
What changed your mind
now.
6 years ago?
You're not going to believe it. You're just not, okay, you know that I was working.
He knows me. I don't believe anything.
You know that I was working under contract with Judah Guitars.
Yeah, oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you were doing the EVHs.
We were doing EVHs.
That's right.
Replicas, taking
Yes.
EVH Stripe series and turning them into replicas.
That's right, and they were beautiful guitars.
And they've played great.
Yeah. Do you think they've mimicked the sound that well?
Well, let me tell you what happened.
All right.
We got to play those guitars fresh out of the box because we literally bought them brand new.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay?
no, I know you did. Yeah, I saw them here.
We played them fresh out of the box. We tore them down, ran them through the system, put them all back together, adjusted them, set them up, and we played them again. You know, in order to make sure that they all tested out well and
Yeah, you're not,
before we packed them up.
You're not in the business of selling
And
people
I can
junk. You got
absolutely
custom
tell
great
you,
guitars here. Yeah.
I can absolutely tell you that over the course of 316 guitars that I personally was involved with,
Oh, that's a lot
they're
of
still
guitars.
building, but they're building in a different situation now.
Okay.
But the 316 guitars that I personally was involved with and heard,
Yeah.
I can tell you that yes, there was a limited number that were perfect. They were
Right.
just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And most of the rest of them were less than phenomenal. But
As far as the standard of mimicking what Eddie himself did, right? Is that what we're talking about?
yeah, a little bit.
That's
Yeah, a
standard?
little bit.
Yeah.
But here's what I would say: if you consider a level of consistency, and then there's going to be a few
Sure.
that just
Yeah. There's
you
that
know,
standard
above and a
deviation.
few
You
that
got
are below.
your standard deviation. Yeah.
and
yeah,
then your run of the mill. Having heard them before we relic them and after we relic them, the only differences between those guitars was the addition of a dummy pickup
yeah.
and a dummy switch.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and
Because it wasn't actually hooked
and
up.
the quarter, which I'm not sure how much mass the quarter added, but maybe some.
Who knows?
And we didn't remove a lot of finish, you know. We definitely, you know,
Some.
relicked it or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
you want
yeah,
to call it. We aged and
Matured
distressed it. And then, of course, all the parts were the same as it was factory. So the only other thing was the pickup is slanted.
Right.
Now, stupid as this may sound, Van Halen lied to everybody. There's no doubt about it.
Eddie.
Here's why I know this.
Okay.
You can look at a Stripe Series pickup,
Yeah.
and it pulls line up flawlessly with the strings. But he told everybody that the Gibson pickup wouldn't line up. Okay? Well, his new pickup is the same measurements
Yeah.
as a Gibson,
Okay.
but he turned it on purpose.
Right.
So that the lower pole or the upper pole on the treble side lined up with the high E string, and the lower pole on the bass side lined up with the bass string.
Right,
And the rest
right.
of them are all like off,
A little bit off.
a little bit off.
Now, did he do that?
These guitars did not sound like the Van Halen sound
Okay.
when they were fresh, brand new out of the box.
No, they did not.
But they absolutely did, and there's at least 316 customers who will agree with me that they absolutely did sound. They had that elusive thing that you
That
can't
thing.
put your finger on,
the Eddie
but
Van
you
Halen
certainly
thing.
know it when you hear it.
Oh, sure.
Once they had that pickup turned sideways. Now there's the possibility that the dummy single coil added some magnetic.
There's some
currents
magnetic
in
there, yeah.
but there was no electrical interference at all. Just magnetic, if at the
Which
most.
is possible. There was such a fine tune, and like you said, he was an alchemist. I call him a chemist.
He did.
Whatever you
He
want to
was-
call him.
he was
But
messing around with
We've
those
talked
guitars.
about that before. Between the pieces of wood, the different types of wood, the different pieces of electronics, and everything that you
Sure.
put into a guitar. You can't just buy all quality stuff and put it together. And it's going to sound like this amazing
No,
thing. It
every
may be
piece-
good,
every
but to
piece
get
of wood's
great, you've
different.
got to have that.
Every piece of wood is different. Every set of every truss rod, every
Yeah.
neck piece of wood, every fretboard.
So did he
They're all just a little
did he eschew that pickup because of the fact that he bent the hell out of the strings and used a whammy bar like a god?
I
throwing
really
lightning
don't know.
bolts?
I can't
And he
tell you
could-
what his original thinking was, but I can tell you this:
The result was amazing.
that pickup straight does not sound like Van
Doesn't
Halen.
sound
That
right.
pickup slanted sounds like Van Halen.
Yep, there you go. And
There it is
so,
out there.
in your opinion, Bruce, who was the master of the whammy bar? Who are the greats?
Well, you can't talk about Whammy Bar without saying Jimi Hendrix.
Right.
That's virtually impossible. And then Van Halen certainly took it into the next level, and Steve Vai took it past that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there who, I don't know, I'm a little bit biased because there's guys out there who did some crazy stuff,